How many times you've spent, I don't know, tons of hours trying to color grade your new shiny video, and when you're done with the editing, you're like, okay, I'm gonna rewatch it again to see if the color grading is right. You realize that your face looks like a Dorito in half of the shots. So my plan with today's video is trying to show you some of the tips and tricks that I've used to build my own systems for color grading, so it's not a struggle, it takes you way less time, and the results you achieve with it are far more consistent and way better, because in each video you're making from now on, everything looks more cinematic or more consistent for your brand or the style you want to achieve. So let's not waste time. As I've hinted before, the key here is to build systems, because when you build a system, things can be repeated and things scale basically. And if you want to build a proper system for color grading, the first thing you can do is applying an overall look. The easiest way that I found to build an overall look in Davinci Resolve is basically by using groups. My editing pipeline these days can be broke down into two pieces. I'll be using the pre-section in Davinci Resolve to map the input color space to Davinci White Gamut, and that's going to be my working color space. Then on the individual clip level, I'll do some adjustments, I'll talk about this later, and then on the post clip section, I'll apply the overall look. And if you want to see an example of all of this, for all these videos that I've been posting recently, I've been using my vertical power grade. You can get it for free, it's in the description, and you can kinda play around with it and understand all I've been mentioning. I only have a group, for example for this project, I call it S-Log3 because I'm recording on Sony. So basically all of the clips in my timeline are going through this group. And now the question you may be wondering, okay, how can I get that overall look? Well, okay, a look might simply be a contrast curve. If you can shape your contrast curve in a way that looks good for you, that might be your overall look. And if you make all your clips in the project go through that simple contrast curve, trust me, the results across your project will be much more consistent by only doing that simple thing. You can also use film emulations if you have access to them. I also have my greenish lot that you can use it as an overall look. It's designed for that. But there's something you need to take into account, and it's that a good overall look should preserve the middle gray. This is a very into deep topic and there's more to it. Just take that into account, and if you're curious about it, do your own research about it, because I'm far from being an expert on that topic. But that's the only way to make sure that your exposure isn't moving for all clips and you're shaping it in a way that is more likely to fit all of your clips in your timeline or in your project. That's the idea that I got from it basically. So if your overall look is good, let's put it that way, for 95% of the shots you're gonna grade, at least for what I do on YouTube, I only need to adjust the exposure and the white balance. Yes, there are scenarios that I need to tweak some of the hues. I want to rotate them so they look in a different way, or I want to tweak some saturations to, I don't know, to change the skin tones. But that's like a very residual process, and if I'm not sure of whether I need that or not, I don't do it. I just set my white balance properly so I get the best color separation according to my personal taste. I just adjust the exposure so I get to a point that I like it, and that's it. I'll move to a different clip, and by doing so I can see while I'm editing how that thing looks, or let's put it differently, how my video is gonna look when I've posted it online. Just to be clear with you, these days I don't even have a color grading stage in my editing pipeline because I've integrated it seamlessly across the editing, so I don't spend any time color grading. It's just some adjustments and it works. Whereas in the past I used to spend a lot of time and it was a struggle, and results were not even close to what I'm achieving these days. Alright, if you've applied this practice, trust me, this is gonna save you a lot of time. But now there's another thing that you can do to help you make your process so much easier, and it's basically using a fixed node tree. I mean for the individual clip level, because for the overall look you can get more creative and that's not that likely to change from clip to clip. But for the individual clip level, I always use the same node tree, so I know where my exposure is, where my white balance is, and all I need to do is go to that node and change it, and it's so much faster faster. I don't need to be doing anything. I've saved that as a template, so I just drag and drop it, tweak the exposure, tweak the white balance, and I'm done. And I don't need to be setting, like, for example, if I'm applying noise reduction, there's a specific node for that, and I don't need to kind of set my preset or the pre-configuration that I use for that node. Same for the white balance. I adjust it on linear, and I don't need to be kind of setting it for each clip individually. So it's so much faster. I can't stress this enough. Use a fixed node tree and use it in all of your clips. You already know where things are. You just go adjustment and go to another different thing. The next thing that I want to talk about is using keywords so you can classify or categorize your clips seamlessly, and what's more important, so you can ripple select changes. For example, for these clips you're seeing right now, I have, I don't know, 1,000 cuts in the same timeline, and the clip is exactly the same. I'm not gonna be grading the same thing 1,000 times. So what I normally do is that I tag all of these clips as studio or whatever you wanna say, and then I'll go to the color tab, I'll filter by studio, and all of my studio clips are there. I'll hit Command A or Control A if it's on Windows. I've never used Windows for Davinci Resolve. And then if I wanna apply, for example, the same still to all of them, I just can drag and drop it and it's there. Or one of the things that I use a lot is that I change something on one of the clips and then I ripple select, so it applies to all of the clips that I've selected. I know I'm going a little bit too fast. The idea with this video is not showing you like the example of how to implement this. It's more like to plant the seed in your head, so you can now go to Google, go to ChatGPT, or go to other YouTube tutorials and dive right into it, but at least you know where to browse for. That's kind of my intention with this video. You can learn color grading in an evening. It's something I've been developing for over a year, and I still feel like I'm a beginner some days because I don't know, there are guys who grade professionally, I mean, grading movies, and I'm just a random YouTuber who can't even reach 100 views in some of the videos. So, you know, use the things you feel like they might fit in your pipeline and leave the rest aside, basically. And my last tip for color grading, this might sound a little bit odd to you, but improve your pre-production. Because you can basically, for example, if you want to impose a certain color in your shot and it's not present, it's gonna be a bit weird. I mean, if it's not there, how are you supposed to smash it in there? For example, this shot you're seeing right now has, well, a lot of color grading, but it's a good pre-production. I've set my lights in a way that fit my color palette. I want to have it teal and orange. So you have a couple of lights here for the blue side. You have a couple of other things here that have the orange. My skin tone sit in the orange range as everyone else. And I'm always wearing the same clothing, so it's consistent. Basically, that's the best way to color grade things. If you have the colors already in the shot, you don't need to do like weird hue rotation. You are less likely to break them. Everything gets so much easier. And yeah, as I was mentioning, color grading is not a thing that you can learn in a free evening. It's something that you need to basically put the reps in and make a lot of mistakes, as I was doing in the past. But when you build the systems that work for you and things get repeated over and over and over, you can simply forget about it. And right now, I don't even need to put any mental effort into color grading, whereas a year ago it was like, oh, I need to color grade. I really like it. It's something that I wish I did better, but I know it's going to be a struggle and it's going to consume me for a couple of hours or 3 hours or even a day. And then it ended up looking very bad, let's be realistic. Whereas now, I know all of my videos are going to look okay. I can make some mistake, but at least the base level is going to be so much higher. But yeah, hope you find it useful. Let me know in the comments if something wasn't clear enough, and see you in the next one. Bye.